Hi, Erica McClain here. Welcome back for part two in the series of what you need to know when you're selling your house. So, we got past the showings and all of that. So, now you get an offer, maybe multiple offers. When you have multiple offers, it's very important not to just look at the price. All the other terms can have a big impact. Usually, when it's a multiple offer situation, buyers will tend to bid above asking. Well, if you have a buyer with a pre approval letter and they're only putting a small amount down, and you have another buyer that's putting 50% down, but maybe they came in $5,000 less than the other offer, I would recommend taking the 5,000 less or seeing if we could get that buyer up 5,000 more, because there's a lot better chance that their financing is going to go through and go through smoothly. So it's not always just about the price. And let me tell you, I've seen a lot of pre-approval letters, not pre-qualified, pre-approved, and was told by the loan officer, oh, we ran it through automated underwriting. This is going to be an easy one to close. And guess what? They didn't get the financing. So that loan officer was blowing a lot of smoke. So once we decide on an offer, it gets accepted, it gets sent to the attorneys. There's a 5 business day attorney review period that's built into the contract. So that gives each attorney 5 business days to try and modify, make changes. They could cancel the contract. Usually, this attorney review period does get extended out for more than 5 days. Also, during the first 5 business days, the buyer has a right to do a home inspection. They almost all do, and it's to their benefit to do it. It's their expense, and I've seen home inspections last anywhere from 1 to 5 hours, depending on the inspector. It's usually better, in my opinion, that the sellers aren't home for the home inspection, because you'll overhear the inspector find little things wrong. And from my experience with past sellers, I know it irritates them. But there's no reason why you can't be there for the home inspection. Then, like I said, this attorney review period will get usually extended out. Best case scenario, after the home inspection, they don't ask for anything. Worst case scenario, the home inspector has scared the pants off of these buyers and they cancel the contract. Normally, what happens is they come back and they say, in their attorney letter, they'll put a list of, what's wrong, and they'll ask for the seller to get these items repaired by a licensed contractor or give a credit. I always recommend to my sellers, we're better off to just give a credit. This way, if something isn't done right, it doesn't fall back on the seller. We give them a credit after closing. When they take possession, they hire whoever they want. And if they have a problem with the work that was done, doesn't involve the seller at all. Well, until they get all of this negotiating done between the attorneys, the attorney review period gets extended. So the closing date on the contract is never set in stone. The closing date gets scheduled by the seller's attorney, but the seller's attorney has to coordinate, number one, if they're doing a mortgage, their loan has to be cleared to close and ready to go. the buyers have to be available and the buyer's attorney has to be available. Most sellers don't even attend the closing anymore. They can meet with their attorney, they pre-sign, so they don't have to sit there, because it takes the seller maybe 10 minutes to sign the paperwork. The buyer, they could be there for an hour signing all these mortgage docs, and then the closer has to send everything over to the banks for the bank to review and make sure there's no initials missing anywhere. Sometimes they're waiting still for the wire to come in. And so sometimes these closings are, you're sitting there 3 hours, 4 hours. So that's why most sellers choose not to go. But like I said, that closing date, it's very typical. And I always let my sellers know this up front. Don't be surprised when we get a letter from the buyer's attorney asking for an extension on their mortgage contingency. It doesn't mean the buyers did anything wrong or there's anything wrong with their loan, but the buyers have to pay upfront now for the appraisal on the property. They usually don't do that and order the appraisal until attorney review is closed. So the longer attorney review process takes, the longer we wait to get the appraisal done. Then once the appraisal gets done, it goes back to the lender. They go to final underwriting. And then sometimes they're still asking for extensions because it'll be approved, but with conditions. And sometimes the conditions are they need a letter of explanation for something, or they just need proof of homeowners insurance. A lot of times they're small little things. So it's very rare that a property ever closes on the exact date that's on the contract. So that's definitely something you need to, be prepared for. So don't start planning stuff until we know an exact closing date. And at this point, it feels like a waiting game, because you're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting. Then all of a sudden, boom, they have a clear to close, and everybody's jumping through hoops to get things done. Another thing, if they do ask for repairs on the home inspection, I recommend to the seller, a lot of times the sellers will be like, well, I want to see a copy of this home inspection. I usually don't recommend asking for a copy, because whatever the home inspector put in that report, if the seller gets a copy now and this deal falls through, we have to disclose everything that we found, in this home inspector's report. And there's no guarantee that the home inspector was correct on everything. So we're usually better off not to ask for a copy of it. But that takes us through this section. And I hope you found this informational. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments, reach out. I'd be happy to answer them for you. Hope you learned something. Like, subscribe, hit the bell so you'll be notified when part 3 comes out, and you'll get all this exciting information on the whole process. But for now, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you back for another video.